Hello, and thank you for being here for another yoga class. Today's class will give you kind of an option to, I want to make sure this is on, sorry. Okay, 1 second. Okay, the class will give you an option toward the end to kind of bow out and that be enough. But for some of us, we're going to work towards a headstand, Salamba Shirsasana, and ways to work on building the strength for that. So we'll kind of progress through some core strengthening, some balance poses, some shoulder openers, wrist openers, and then again, we'll kind of start cooling it back down with an option for headstand. So to begin, you can sit in your regular position with cross leg or semi-cross leg, or you can choose to sit on your heels or make enough room between your feet for a block there. And we'll just start however you'd like to get that aligned spine. Give yourself a moment to just settle into the present moment by perhaps using your breath as a point of focus, not trying to change it, just noticing. If you know notice any sharp edges to your breath, or if you feel like maybe you could go a little deeper by expanding your belly during your inhalations to really use that diaphragm to begin to just tweak your breath enough to let it fill your body with oxygen, energy. With it, each exhalation complete, emptying out. And in this increased state of clarity, if you'd like to set an intention for today's practice, you can do that now. And to feel your intention, you can simply bring your palms together at heart center and gently draw your chin in and down. And then bring your head back up to neutral position. And we'll stay right here on the block or on the floor for just a couple of stretches. So we'll inhale, bring both arms up towards the sky. And as you exhale, take the hands behind your back, interlace the fingers, and as you lift the heart, straighten the elbows, try to lift the pinkies toward the sky. And then exhale, hands back into your heart. You can release the hands down towards the mat. On an inhale, reach up with your right arm, and exhale, reaching across toward the left, maybe looking down at the left and keeping that left shoulder relaxed. Inhale, as you come to center, the left arm can lift up, and we'll just move to the other side, trying to increase the space between your ribs, between the bottom of your rib cage and the top of your pelvis on that left side. Inhale back to center, and one more time, opposite side. And we're going to turn this into a twist, but first come back to a neutral position. And then that right arm can travel across your body, resting on the outside of your left thigh as the left arm travels back a bit, creating a bit of a twist, but keeping the shoulders down and heart open, chest open. And then returning to center. We'll start with that side. Lean over here to open up the left side again before our twist. And then bring the body back to neutral. And that left arm can travel across your body to the outside of your right thigh. Right hand a little more behind you as you move into that gentle twist. Careful not to strain with the neck or the eyes. And then we'll just simply come back to center. Let's take the shoulders up and roll them down and back. And one more time, up, down, and back. And even another one. Good. So kind of get in touch with those muscles that help to shrug your shoulders up and pull them back down. Because as we work towards some of these other movements and poses, I want you to be able to control that. And sometimes when we're in a slight inversion, that sensation, it seems a little, for whatever reason, a little more difficult to access. It's kind of getting some muscle memory here as you do it in this position. And then if you're sitting on a block, you can move that out of the way and come into your hands and knees position, or I'm gonna have you do something similar. So rather than a cat-cow, all I want you to do is think about pressing your shoulder blades up towards the sky. So almost like you're trying to lengthen your arms, and then allow the chest to sink. I'm doing a little exaggerated. You don't have to go that fast, but just to show you the difference. So I'm really just pressing my upper back away from the floor. And then as I exhale, I'm allowing my chest to sink back down. I'm kind of going up and down a few times, recruiting those muscles of my upper back, some of the shoulder muscles. Okay, awesome. We're gonna feel that similarly as we do some core warm-up and exercise. So I'll have you take your forearms to the mat. And as you do that, check that your shoulders are either a little behind or directly over your elbows, and that the forearms are parallel to each other. Fingers are spread so you can feel each fingertip in your mat. You can start to walk the knees back. You're kind of in a forearm, somewhat of a modified plank. Make sure that hips, you're not too high, but your abs are engaged to lengthen the tailbone towards your knee creases. And just see what that feels like as you press firmly through the forearms, through the fingertips. Maybe lift one knee up, tap it down, lift the other knee up, tap it down, and really keeping that core engaged. So I want you to avoid thinking through the low back. You could lift both knees up, press back through your heels, and again, checking that alignment, that you don't want your shoulders way out over the elbows like that. Gazes at the floor, even here, trying to keep shoulders away from ears. Maybe even try a little bit of that lift and relax in this position. And I know this is a lot of work on all of the body, great core strengthener. But we're gonna take the knees down and let's move into puppy dog. So you can walk the knees in a little bit under the hips, take the arms a little wider than shoulders if you'd like to, and just slowly sink your chin down towards the mat. Maybe inhale, come away, and exhale, sink the chin back down, opening up through the shoulders, the lats. Bring your chin away. Take the hands in back to shoulder distance apart. We're going to come back to our forearms. And this time we're going to move towards kind of a dolphin pose. So it's like a downward facing dog, but we're on forearms. You know your body, so come down and rest as you need. But we're going to see if we can lift both knees up. And maybe that's enough. So feet are hip width apart. It's okay to bend the knees, but think about shifting your chest back towards the back edge of your mat. And maybe you walk your feet in a bit, but the head is not touching the ground. So you've got to, without overexerting through the upper traps, keep that head floating. Walk the feet in, a little bit more if you'd like. That makes the work even more. But again, we want to keep pushing our chest back so that we don't end up with shoulders way out past our elbows. Pressing through the fingertips, the forearms, and we'll lower our knees. And this time, just come into a regular child's pose, taking the arms back by your thighs, tucking the chin, crown of the head down on the mat, and let the front of your shoulders just drop towards the mat. You may even enjoy taking the fingertips to each other, interlace the fingers, and lifting the arms off of your body as if you're trying to bring the hands towards the front of your mat beyond your head for a moment, getting that nice shoulder stretch there. And then once more, releasing the hands back down and then bringing them out in front of you. Come to hands and knees. Go into a regular modified downward facing dog by tucking the toes under, engaging the core before you even lift the knees. And then as you do, shift your hips up and back. And just play with your downward dog here for a moment. Any movement you'd like, do the knees, the ankles, maybe wag the tail or spin the feet to one side for a side body stretch and spin around to the other side. And then back to center if you were doing that. In your downward facing dog for one more full round of breath. Exhale all of the air out. And then we'll start walking the feet forward towards the hands, keeping the feet hip width apart, knees softly bent, and just release into a gentle forward fold where everything is relaxed and heavy. Feel free to hold the opposite elbow. Just sway a little bit, wiggling the toes, noticing the 4 points of contact under each foot. And then with that stable base, release the fingertips. Drop the hips down so you can engage the core, both front side and back side, and maybe even open the arms to give you a little bit more power as you come all the way up to standing. Bringing the palms together overhead, and then to heart center. Take a moment there just to let your body adjust to the standing position, reconnect with your breath and your intention. We're going to continue with a little dynamic warm-up, kind of a play off of Surya Namaskar A, and even a combo with B, but with a little change up. So we'll inhale, reach up. So don't go too far ahead. We're going to change things up. Hands are above your head. Exhale, safely fold forward, chin towards the shins. On your inhale, come into that halfway lift wherever the hands need to be. And then as you exhale, step both feet back, but hold your plank or your modified plank. Rather than lower to the floor or even going into Chaturanga Dandasana, we're going to save our triceps for a moment. And we're just going to think about rolling the creases of our elbows toward the front edge of the mat and moving into that modified upward dog. Toes can stay tucked under. You can even be on knees, but creating a little bit of extension through the spine, really spreading across the upper chest. And then we'll shift into downward facing dog. So engage the core first, and then lift the hips up and back. Feel free to adjust the feet, checking as you look back at them that the heels are behind the toes, not angled in or out. And as much as possible, relax the shoulders away from your ears. Whether you're on hands and knees or you're in regular downward facing dog, we're going to bring the right foot forward between the hands. So lift it up behind you if you'd like. And then exhale, engage that core muscle to bring it up between the hands. Come up onto your fingertips from there. So your hands are on each side of that right foot. And we're just going to do a little dynamic warm up for our hamstrings. So that back foot, as you start to straighten the right knee, you can angle that back heel in. Don't feel like you have to get that right knee straight. We're just going to slowly go back and forth from a supported lunge to a little bit of a Parsvottanasana. You can go back and forth at your pace a few times. And then come back into that lunge. And we're going to bring our right foot back to downward facing dog. We'll do the same thing on the other side. I'm really struggling with words today. You can lift the left leg up first if you'd like, and then use the core to draw the knee in and place the foot forward between the hands. You can come up to your fingertips. You can even use blocks. And once more, we're just going to kind of dynamically stretch that right hamstring. That back heel can spin in as you straighten the left knee and then back to pivot back to the ball of the foot as you bend the knee. Okay. Come back to that lunge position. And this time we're just going to step forward with our right foot to meet the left. They can be hip width apart and release into your forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. We're going back to that plank. So step both feet back to plank. Hold it there. Modified upward facing dog, bringing the chest up and forward. Squeezing the glutes just enough to keep that back from collapsing. Staying up and out of the shoulders. The shoulders are not near the ears. Good. And then draw the abs in towards the spine as you lift the hips up and back to downward facing dog. On your inhale, lift that right leg up, and exhale, bring it all the way forward between the hands. So you can come up onto your fingertips again, and we'll do the same thing just once or twice, but this time, we're gonna hold the stretch. So next time you go back, you may wanna move that left foot over, at least a heel-heel alignment, maybe even over farther. And you can slide the body up. So we're working on really now getting that hamstring stretch through the right side. Keep the crease at the top of the right thigh moving back. Not holding it long. Okay. Pivot to the ball of your back foot again. Take the hands a bit forward in front of the foot. And slowly start shifting more and more weight into your right foot as you drag the left foot in. For a little core work, you can bring that left knee into your chest. And then exhale either back to the mat or straight behind you, trying to straighten through the right knee a bit. Exhale, bring the knee into the chest. And inhale, straighten the leg behind you. One more time, bring the knee into the chest. And exhale, as you straighten it behind you, feel free to keep it on the floor. Option of moving into Pavrita Ardha Chandrasana, so the left fingertips stay down and the right hand reaches to the sky. You're pointing the toes of your left foot with the option of gazing up towards that outstretched thumb. And then in all cases, both hands will be down. We'll bend into the right knee and step back into that lunge. Hands can go flat as you move back to downward facing dog, preparing for the other side. So inhale, left leg up. Exhale, bringing that foot all the way forward between your hands. Once or twice, just that dynamic stretch. And then adjust that back foot to take the left leg a bit straighter this time, holding it there for a few breaths. Can be on fingertips or hands can be on blocks. And again, driving that left hip back, lengthening through your spine. Bend into the left knee as you pivot back to the ball of your back foot. And we're gonna walk the hands forward. As you drag the right foot in, the left knee will go a little straighter. And you exhale, you can bend both knees, right knee is into the chest. Inhale, extend the leg behind you, left knee a little straighter. Exhale, bring it in. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, bring it in. Last time, inhale, lengthen behind you. You can stay right there, just keeping the right leg powerfully strong and parallel to the earth, or you can just keep the right fingertips down, trying to square out through the hips and pelvis as you lift your left arm to the sky. For more challenge, you can look up at that outstretched arm. Nice. Still breathing. And then the fingertips come down. Bring the right foot in to meet the left. And very slowly, because your head's been down a while, just come up to standing carefully. Especially if you notice that you've been holding your breath. I don't want you to feel lightheaded. If you do, for any reason, just bend your knees and bring your head down a little bit until you feel like your breathing and heart rate is back to your normal. Fantastic. So we're going to open up the wrists, the shoulders with a little bit of, I'm going to turn around behind you. As we move into Parsvottanasana, this time we'll do it from a standing position, and you can either hold the opposite elbow, you can place hands at the low back, or you can touch the palms together And then see if you can turn the fingertips up to make palms together behind you, somewhere in between the shoulder blades, and then draw the elbows back. So you want to get the hand position first. Any of those are fine. Right foot stays where it is, left foot steps back. Again, we're going to work on squaring our hips forward, so that back left foot may need to move to the left a bit, allowing you to then square towards the front edge of your mat with your pelvis. Keeping the heart open, take a breath in, and as you exhale with a straight right knee, not locked, but straight, we're going to fold forward. So if you feel this more in the arms and shoulders, no big deal. That's where I'm really wanting you to get your focus today anyway. But there's a strong chance you'll feel this in your hamstring as well. And if you need to adjust the distance between your feet, you can do that. Gravity's going to want your shoulders to fall forward. Do your best to keep them away from the floor. Elbows lifting as you breathe. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Use your core muscles to come all the way up to standing. I'm going to encourage you to keep the hands right where they are as you step forward with your left foot and then back with the right. Make any foot adjustments that you need to allow the hips to square forward. Squeeze the thigh muscles to keep the knees straight, and as you exhale, you're going to fold forward over that straight left leg. Trying to line your sternum up with your leg. And breathe into any space that needs your attention right now. And then use your core muscles to inhale, come all the way up to standing. And as you exhale, you can step forward and release the hands down. Feel free to kind of shake it out. That pose has been shown in studies to help reduce the risk of the onset of carpal tunnel syndrome. So if it felt really tight to you, it did to me today. I haven't done that in a while. So it's just a reminder that I need to do that more often. Okay, we're going to do another standing balance pose, and then we're going to make our way back towards the floor to work towards a headstand for some of us. So Garudasana, eagle pose. We're going to do the arms position first, and so that's why I'm facing you, so you can see the arms are going to go out to the side. And then as you exhale, we're going to take the left arm over the right. And for some of you, maybe you're just going to bend the elbows and touch the shoulders. If available, you'll just go ahead and keep wrapping the arms. That's what it kind of looks like, so that the palms are touching, trying to keep the wrists straight. And then you can just play with position here for a moment and notice what you feel between the shoulder blades as you lift the elbows up a bit, as you try to move them away from your body. But I want you to firmly press every point of contact there, and that will help with the balance that we're moving towards. So left arm is on top of the right. We're going to shift your energy and attention, your weight bearing, into that right leg. So you can bend the left knee, come up onto your tippy toe, find a spot to focus on in front of you as you just kind of like a kickstand, like to tap that toes to the outside of your right ankle. That may be enough for you. Some of you already know where we're heading, and you can head there now. You might want to bend deeper into the knee first to bring that left thigh high up on your right thigh and see if you can wrap that ankle all the way around into Garudasana, eagle pose, pressing wherever you can, wherever's touching, and breathing. And to come out of it, you can unwrap the feet and then bring the arms out, maybe overhead. And exhale, arms back out to the side. This time we'll take the right arm over the left, and your choice of elbows, or I'm sorry, hands touching shoulders or wrapping the forearms to bring the palms together, and try to make sure your wrists are not bending but are in a neutral position. And so we'll start shifting our energy and awareness into the left foot. Those that know Garudasana, feel free to move there. Otherwise, you can follow along with me, maybe just doing the little kickstand position and staying with it there to get the benefits, or going a little deeper in the knee bend, right leg high on the left thigh as you wrap it around, focusing on a spot and breathing. And to come out of it, you can just unwrap the feet, release the arms down and all the way up. And exhale, hands to heart center. Fantastic. Release down to mountain pose. Take a couple of rounds of breath. Noticing your breath, your heart rate, sensations. Balance poses can really get that heart rate up sometimes. We're going to make our way back down for a little bit more core work. A couple of stretches with the option of bowing out then and letting that be your practice, or working towards a headstand. Because I'm not there with you, you have to really listen to my advice and do what's best for you, all right? If you have a wall nearby, that could be a place to kind of set up as we move there, but I'll give you a chance. So hands at heart center, we're gonna reach up on our inhale. This time, exhale, take the hands behind you and release the fingers. And as you lift the heart, bring the arms up behind you. And then exhale, fold forward. As you inhale, release the fingertips to the floor or your shins for a halfway lift. And then exhale, we'll step both feet back to a plank. Lower the knees and come back to forearms. This time from forearms, I'm going to turn towards you for a moment. I'm going to have you bring just to check distance, it should be about shoulder width apart. Fingertips may come to the outer edges of your elbows. This isn't exact science, so you'll have to kind of adjust to see what feels right. And then you're going to lightly interlace the fingers so that you have some opening, kind of making a semicircle with your hands. I'm going to do what we did earlier, kind of a dolphin pose with our hands like this. So knees can come up, head stays off the floor, and you can walk the feet in to make it a little bit more challenging. You can even just do this from plank. And they kind of say that to do a safe headstand, you need to be able to hold this position for about a minute. So it's great core work, great building strength for the upper body as well. Walking the feet in is even more challenging and powerful. But head is still off the floor in this strengthening exercise. And then release the knees down. Untuck the toes. And we'll sit the hips back and come into Balasana, child's pose once more. Bring the hands out in front. Come to hands and knees. We're gonna do a stretch for a chest opener, which will be our final pose before we move towards headstand. Coming all the way down to your stomach. You're gonna make a cactus arm with your left. So the bicep is on the mat, elbow straight out from the shoulder, palm is down on the floor. My other hand is near my right shoulder. I'll bend my right knee and start to roll over towards my left side, bringing potentially my right foot to the floor, outside my mat, outside the left leg. Getting a powerful stretch through the upper chest on the left side. You can relax your head on the mat. If that's too far, you don't have to take the foot all the way down. Even just a slight roll to the left can be enough. And we'll come back to center and switch sides. So you'll make a cactus arm with your right. Allow that inner upper arm to rest on the mat, your chest to come down. This time your left knee will bend and your left hand's on the mat for support. And you can take that foot over to the outside and rest your head down. Usually one side's a little tighter. And breathe into the upper chest muscles stretching. They're so important for respiration, for posture. And then to come out of it, just come back to forward. And we'll press through the hands, lifting ourselves up to hands and knees. Walk the heels and knees in. And come back to sit on your heels or a block for taking a moment. So listen to your body. If this is where you need to stop, thank you for being here. And I'll post the replay, of course, later in case you want to try the next part. For those that want to continue towards headstand, the key with headstand is that very little weight on the head. Most of the work that we're going to do in this version is through the forearms, the outside of our hands, and that's where we're doing the work. So a lot of shoulder work. If you feel like there's compression on your head, come out of it. It's not worth it. I don't want you to feel compression in the neck or shoulder pain later. If you are brand new to headstand, I'm not there with you again, so you may want someone with you. You can watch first or have a wall behind you so that you don't mistakenly tumble all the way over. So I'll kind of show you where we're heading. We're going to bring our forearms down like we did before and make that interlaced but open place. And that's where the back of the head will be. Again, it's similar to what we did before, but this time there is contact on the floor with the head, but most of the work, you want to really feel those forearms. So when we were doing those shoulder lifts earlier, I want you to feel how powerful you can press through the forearms as you lift the knees up. You can walk the feet in and sometimes just working on getting comfortable with one foot off and then the other. You can always come down and take a break as until you're ready to continue. The next stage would be walking the feet in and coming really up to the tippy toes and bringing the leg a little higher. You could tuck it back in and maybe the other leg joins. You can always just stay there and bring one foot back down, the other, and take a break. So you're getting used to each stages without too much weight. You want that awareness of, was my head doing the work or the forearms? And then if you go into final expression, you can again go to that in-between stage first, and then maybe one leg, and then the other go up. Legs are zipped together, balls of the feet pressing to the sky, and powerful energy through the forearms. Careful not to overarch the low back. You want to think about lengthening your tailbone, in this case, up towards the sky. And then you can come out of it the same way. And rest in child's pose. So feel free to play with this. I'll show one more option for going into headstand, and that's just a little bit more of a core, demanding a little bit more of your core. And that's going up with straight legs together. So the start is the same, but you really walk those toes up until they just kind of naturally, you never want to kick up into it, but they just kind of naturally start to float up. I guarantee that if you try to kick them up, you're going to lose your balance and go potentially over the wrong side. Make sure you're breathing. This is a really wonderful way to reverse the effects of gravity. And if you want that core exercise on the way down, you can come down the same way, keeping the legs zipped together and slowly coming back, making sure to take time in child's pose to let the shoulders, neck, and head kind of in that in-between, that transitional place before sitting up.
After about 5 breaths in Balasana,
you can slowly roll back up to sit on your heels. You can stay on your heels a block or come into any variation of lotus cross legs. And I think it's always a great idea just to end similarly to how we did, with a few shoulder rolls back, a little side to side neck stretching. And maybe even the hands behind, drawing the shoulders up. Drawing the shoulders back and down, lifting the hands up. Problems with words today. And then hands back to flat. Feel free to continue practicing on your headstand. It is a powerful pose, but needs to be done safely and correctly. And please feel free to reach out with any questions and an email directly to me or via an announcement that you can respond to an announcement as well. All right. Thanks everybody for joining me. Please, if you have time for Shavasana, it's an excellent time for meditation or Shavasana here.